Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We are fortunate to have another one of our absolutely amazing library friends on board with us today to share some information that most of us don't give a whole lot of thought to. And there's a wealth of information in that library and with all of our library friends there. So it is a great pleasure for me today to introduce you to Larry Mello. And Larry is now the Depository Coordinator for the Government Information and Maps Department. So I will let Larry take it from here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you for all the staff and yourself at COSI over there for putting this on this afternoon. As Judy said, I am the Depository Coordinator of the Government Documents and Maps Department. This presentation today will be an overview of the types of resources that you have at your disposal, both in print and electronic. A little bit about myself. I have a MA and a BA and MA from the History Department here at FAU, and my MLIS, Master Library Information Science, comes from the University of Maryland, where my focus was on e-government and e-information. So let's begin. So first I'd like to start off is ask everyone out there a question. What is government information and maps? And what does it mean to you as a researcher, both as a faculty member or what you can instill in your students that you instruct? Well, there are many different forms of government information, from congressional hearings to maps, as we see, to digitalized presidential speeches and archived online, using census data to create maps, a wealth of information, to redacted FBI reports on different topics from Martin Luther King to Al Capone and then some. We have a lot of historical maps as well as up-to-date and current maps in our collection. And of course, it all starts with the Constitution. Those are all different forms of government information, and there's a lot more than what this presentation, what this slide presents now. So when you think of government information, there's a large amount of information out there. Information and they're usually put out from different agencies, like the Health Department, Department of Education, the federal, State Department, military, the Defense Department, and so on. Census, right? We just got finished doing the 2020 census not too long ago. That has all been is being put together, and that way that information can be used for committees and hearings, as well as creating new information and new resources at our disposal. So the government, in the Maps Department here at SC Wimbley Library is part of the FDLP, the Federal Depository Library Program. And then those are our current hours in which you can reach myself or my staff to access the materials. A little background information is the Federal Depository Library Program is a coded law through the United States Code 44, Chapter 19. And actually, the program itself runs through the Congressional of Congress, and actually went into effect in 1813, which was to ensure that all public Americans have access to government information in the form and held at depository libraries around the United States and territories alike. So our two governing bodies are the Government Publishing Office, formerly known as the Government Printing Office, but they've recently changed their name because obviously they do more publishing than printing since the age of digital electronic resources, and the FDLP, the Federal Depository Program. And actually, Congress was created the GPO, the Government Printing Office, back in 1860. So as we were in the midst of beginning a civil war, Congress enacted the law to create Government Printing Office on March and signed into law March 4th, 1861. A little bit of history. But like the university, like our different colleges that we all attend or work at, and the library itself, we all have a mission, a vision, and the values that set us aside and how we act and operate. So their mission is to provide free and ready, permanent public access to federal government information, both now and into future generations. Their vision is to provide, as you see, government information when and where it is needed in order to create an informed citizenry. Obviously, that is a very important topic as we move forward in our nation's history. And it was something that the founding fathers were definitely aware of, that they needed to ensure democracy, was that the citizenry had to be informed of what the government was doing, both abroad as well as at home. And their values is to provide access, collection, knowledge, and professionalism and stewardship. So that's where a lot of what the federal depository libraries are involved in. We have offer access to the materials both in print and electronic. We steward the collection. And try to grow the collection based on our constituents, which is the student body here, the faculty here at FAU, as well as the general public and the locale, and provide professionalism when need be too. So when people come in and can't find the information they're looking for, to help them find the resources that they need. So as you can see, comes from our government documents website, where again we're here to keep the America informed. That's both FAU, our faculty, our teaching faculty, our research faculty, the students that you guys instruct, as well as the local public citizenry, and especially of the 22nd Congressional District and all of South Florida for that matter. We provide the government resources are free. We don't charge access to them. Now there are databases out there, and we'll go over one later in this presentation, like ProQuest, that government resources have been curated through them. But that is just one. But the majority of other than that platform, everything else is free to use. We are what we call a selector. So we select up to 70% of what the government publications that they distribute, and we try to catalog every record that currently comes into our system, both be it print or electronic. So you can do a catalog search on any given topic, the 9/11 hearings, what congressional records do we offer, and things like that can be found through our catalog. So the easiest way and the quickest way to access government documents on our website is from the library's homepage, as you can see here. If you moved your cursor under collections, we're the second one down, government information and maps. Click on that, we go right into the government resources homepage. And from those, as you can see on the left-hand side, there are various links that will allow you to take you to various information, be it federal, Florida, and so on. So first, we'll look at the federal resources. So again, not everything that the government puts out is sent to us. As far as like I said, do receive 70% of what they publish, both from print to electronic. Those can be accessed through the catalog. But one thing that we also offer is links to the various agencies and government websites, so you can find live information as it's happening. So on that page, we have a web link finder, and if you click on that, the image you see below, besides here, will allow you to search if you know the title of a link that you want to, or you can just simply browse. Again, as you can see from here, we have both international and federal information, from the executive branch to the Supreme Court, and we also offer historical links as well, providing historical government information. We're not only a federal depository, we are a Florida repository as well, where we do get Florida documents. We do have a Florida print collection in our holdings as well, and it's searchable via the catalog. But like the federal level, the state has begun to move digitally. So we see a lot of links that are coming, a lot of resources are coming electronically and that are cataloged as well. We do provide two research guides that we've created, both dealing with state publication collection, which we look at and accent Florida documents that have been electronically digitized and made available online, as well as the other one is Discover Florida Resources, where we provide links to various Florida agencies, very similar to the federal level, but at the state level. And so if you're looking to do research in the state of about the state of Florida and topics interested of the state of Florida, there's a link there for you to access as well. Congressional hearings, another link that we can click on from the left-hand side. And congressional hearings is just as the title says. These are hearings that were formed in the federal level and in Congress. And we have three avenues in which we can access our congressional hearings. ProQuest Congressional, which is the database that the library subscribes to. It's a very robust database for those who have not used it. And that collection goes back to 1824 to the present. We have governmentinformation.gov, which began in 1995, as it says there. So with the 104th Congress, they began to realize the importance of digitization and putting things online. So that's as far back as they've been archived as of yet. And if you're looking for the most recent government congressional hearing information, you can always go to congress.gov and search for during the current Congress session. So here are the three images of the landing points, ProQuest congressional hearings being the one in the top left. GovInfo, the center image, again, that goes back to 1995, and you can search via that platform. And then congress.gov for the most recent and up-to-date current Congress that's in session now. All three of these are great sites. Again, the first one, ProQuest Congressional, is a database. So as a researcher, be it for the faculty or students, if you're using it remotely, you will have to log in because again, we subscribe to that. But GovInfo and Congress.gov are free sites and can be accessed anywhere where you have internet access with no login needed. We also have a map collection, very similar to our what's it called? The link finder for the federal resources. Excuse me. We have a map finder. In our current holdings, we have and you search the map finder, we have over 1,040 maps of various topics and subjects that have been graciously through the staff and our GIS student linked up and put on in this web finder. But these are not just the only maps we have access to. We have topographic maps, which have paper indexes on the map cases, thousands of maps of topographic regions of every state and territory that the U.S. has possession of, and not including the maps that some of the maps are cataloged, maps that come in through the various agencies like the Department of Interior, this Department of Defense. If maps come in, we get maps like that. For those of you who have ever been to a national park and you picked up a little map that they give out, that's a government document. And we have many of those types of maps for our national parks as well in our collection. And like I said, those can be accessed through the catalog. We do offer legal resources when you click on the link, it will take you right into our legal resources e-collection subject guide, where you will find a list of government sites that pertain to both federal and state law. I just would say be mindful that we are, while we offer the links on our platform, the government document staff nor I or offer legal advice, but we are not credited with holding a JD. So we merely present the resources for our users and then tell if they have questions and how to use the resources and find the resources. But as it pertains to legality of the law, if they're looking to do in-depth research of that nature, that we do not provide legal resources. We don't provide legal information of that nature. We also have a well put together research guide where we have various tabs where you can find information both on GIS and Stats USA, various other topics, new ebooks that have come in. I will say this vision or this view of this document as it currently states in this PowerPoint will be changing. The format will be changing a little bit, but the information will still be there. So just be aware of that in the upcoming future. If you click on it, it may look a little different than this current slide because we are changing our formatting of our research guides as well. We have a GIS corner currently in our library. If you go back to the west wing of the library, back west corner near the government documents office, you will find the GIS corner, where we're gracious to receive and have a GIS student from the geoscience department who works hours. They're usually 10 hours a week, and you can set up times to do appointments. Because my predecessor, he's the one who initiated this, and he realized that more and more researchers are using GIS information, creating maps on various topics. But the only GIS lab on campus is only the software is only accessible to those in the GIS, teaching GIS, or in the students engaged in those programs. So we are partnered with the GIS Geoscience Department and using their licenses on up to 4 different computers in that area. So as other researchers who are starting to realize that they can tell more of a in-depth story by using GIS and creating maps on their topics, they can come here. The software is free. They just need to log in with their FAU login. If they understand the software, they can work on their own, or again set up a time with our GIS student where he or she will work with you and get you started on how to create those maps, those other resources that you want to add to your research. So about us. So again, we are a federal depository. We've been a federal depository library since 1963, where we serve the 22nd congressional district. And like our collection, unlike the general collection in the library, is arranged by the superintendent of documents, catalog classified system, short as SUDOC. So if you've looked in the catalog and you've come across a really funky catalog number, you're probably looking at a SUDOC number. And if you don't understand how to navigate it, just come back to our office, and either myself or my staff will be more than grateful to come out and help you find it in the stacks, as we say, and find the resource that you are looking for. But again, the majority of the stuff nowadays, even though we still receive some print, are going online. We are receiving them electronically in digital pearls, links, which are being cataloged into our system. And we've been a state depository um, library since 1968. So you can see that we've been well versed in both federal and state information. And again, like the federal, the state too has been moving away from the print and putting more and more things online. But we do still receive from time to time print materials, and we're here to help facilitate research both at the faculty level and our students using government information and how to understand the nuances of the systems in which they're looking at. So being a historian, two of my favorite founding fathers, as you can see here, Thomas Jefferson, what he said about educating the mass of people to preserve liberty, and then James Madison, who helped write the Constitution. As far as well-instructed people alone will help, can permanently free people. Again, very valid quotes to even today. Quotes that I think every federal depository library, whether they admit to it or not, are doing the work that they've set forth to provide information for faculty, the students, the general public, citizenry, just to keep them informed to the best of their abilities. So again, if you need help in government information and maps, that's our office hours. You can contact us via phone. I have 2 different emails. One is governmentinfo@fau.edu, and that goes to just government information. Or if you want to send it to my personal work email, lmello@fau.edu, either one will be answered. Or if you feel like stopping by, you can always stop by on the first floor at LY 109. And I like to say, while I always tell the students when I teach a class that it's the faculty, whose job is to teach the many different subjects and theories in the classroom. It's my job, especially as a government documents coordinator, is to show and help students and faculty alike how to navigate the wealth of information that they have and what the government produces, how to realize that by adding government resources, government materials into a research project, it only adds a different level of depth where, compared to just using peer-reviewed articles and things like that. I always tell them the more resources you can add to a project, the more depth you add to it. And it shows the reader, the user who's going to look at your essay or your research project, that the individual who's using the resources went a step above and beyond what may have been asked of them. So that's my presentation, short and sweet. Like I said, this was just an overview. As Judy Summers mentioned earlier, this was to be an overview of government information, to whet the appetite of faculty, and hopefully, as questions come in, we can always work on creating other more distinct, working along with COSI, webinars on individual topics, be it GIS, various stats websites like the Census Bureau, Labor Department, things like that, moving forward. So, any questions, Judy?
Well, we've got a comment question about actually how if they're the physical maps, do we just look at them in the library, or is it possible to actually check out a map?
Actually it is. So, like I said, some of the maps are cataloged. The smaller maps that come through GPO, those are cataloged. And those can be easily checked out. They have a barcode and everything. The larger maps that we have in our map cases, well, they do not have barcodes per se to be checked out. We do have a special form that we can have our faculty or grad student or undergraduate student fill out, and they can take the map outside the library, use it for a presentation, use it for their researches. So the ultimate answer is yes. Every map can be checked out, whether it be through the catalog and your OWL card, or filling out a specialized form. So we have a record of who has the map and when they took it out. Yes.
So I was just wondering if we could map on historical maps with the GIS software. So I would be interested in doing something like that with a class project. So for instance, if I were to find a historical map of Florida, could I do a mapping project in that way?
I don't see why not. I mean, GIS, like I said, is very robust. The software allows you to map almost anything. And that would be an interesting project to work with our students in the GIS grad student who works there to get it going if need be. Yes, I don't see why not.
What do you teach, Candace?
So I teach public history courses, and this coming semester I'll be doing a digital history course. And so something like that would be a really great project for students to work on.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely. Like I
yeah.
said, they can easily come in, make an appointment with the graduate student during the hours. So that way, obviously, if unless they're already familiar with the various different softwares that the GIS programs use, but I don't see why not. And look forward to working with those students and with our GIS grad student, helping them facilitate and getting those projects done.
Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
I'm going to step in also and let you know that Uh, Larry is also the liaison, or has been the liaison for the history department. And so you would probably also want to connect with him and have him create a reference guide for your classes as well. See, I'm sorry, Larry, adding another task for you.
No, 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 no worries, no worries. Yeah, I'm a liaison to government. Excuse me, I'm history department, political science, communication, and sociology. So, and one of the things that we do is, sometimes we have court classes come in to do library instruction, but I've also informed those units, and for those who are new to those units, and I have not physically met, we do create either myself or the other liaisons can create course guides for a particular class as well. As long as you just fill out the form, give us the information you'd like to see, we can definitely create course guides for any course that faculties or members are teaching.
And yeah, and Lori just put in the link to request an instructional session, and I've had several of the library staff do instructional sessions for classes, and they are always beneficial. My students come away with it with a definite respect for what goes on in that amazing building over there. And she's also added a link for the to create a reference guide. Yeah, the
Thank you.
research guide.
Thank you, Lori, for putting those links in there. Yes, especially we know that a lot of our students are first time generation students, first time coming to a college, a university with a library, with they might be like used to a library at their high school with one floor and maybe a third of the size of our first floor here. So, we know the library can be overwhelming, and anything that we could do, again, this is not just as a government documents coordinator, but also as a liaison. We enjoy working with the students as well as the faculty to help them achieve what they want to achieve here at FAU.
Yeah, excellent, and, um, and we have Candace had also said to thanks for the links, and we will also send those links out when we send you the information on this presentation as well. So we will make sure that you have access to our library friends. I'm always just completely dazzled by the various things that they're able to help us with. Help us with. Any other questions or comments? Um, okay, current video tutorials on history or government information, are there? And so, Miss Laurie, if you want to include the link to the library playlist perhaps as well. So are there video tutorials, Larry, for history or for the government docs?
I know there's a couple on especially primary sources
Oh,
that I know
yeah.
Bruce and I have done, and like I said, we do have, and I am also retooling the primary source research subject guide, adding more information into that as well. So that's the current primary source guide will be being modified and more enhanced as well. And like I said, if there's always, just like you guys in COSI taking, uh, impromptu topics, if a faculty member has an idea for they like to see a video presentation, we'd definitely, entertain that. It obviously depends on staffing levels and things like that. But I don't see why we couldn't, work and create other tutorials as well on various, especially the databases, because like two new databases that we just recently brought online. Again, these are databases subscribed by the library. We have the Shoah database that deals with the Holocaust and genocide, and we just recently purchased and licensed the NAACP papers. So that's another database again that there's again I've only been the coordinator for the last 2 months, and there's I have a lot of ideas moving forward what I'd like to do with the department, and as well as creating tutorials and different resources to enhance research, our faculty research, as well as aid our students.
Yeah, and it sounds like you've got a lot of wonderful ideas for going forward and are open to any other suggestions or requests too.
Like I said, we could always, we enjoy taking the requests. Like I said, obviously, we all have busy schedules, so we'd have to work out timetables and things like that as far as seeing them, make sure they can get done in a timely manner. Because like I said, we think of the tutorials that are currently listed there are ones that we've thought that are important to students, but obviously we don't have the answers for everything as far as ideas. So if ideas come in and we have the time and the staffing to create them, um, we always look to add to our, especially our tutorial sections, because the more information we can put out there in different platforms and forms of media to help researchers out there is always a win-win for us in the library and FAU.
And judging by some of the comments, I have a feeling you're going to be having some people visit you in the library very quickly.
Oh,
Yeah, sounds great. Any other comments or questions or anything else that you want to add? And maybe I think you mentioned a couple of possibilities for other sessions. So what might some of those be?
uh, other sessions that we could look at is, how to navigate pro-quest congressional, for those who are looking to find congressional hearings or congressional committee information on various topics. Because while it's a very robust and database, it can be very overwhelming at times. And if you're not used to navigating it, also retooling the primary source tutorial and going more in depth in our primary resources, as well as government resources, and other primary resource sites as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I just enjoyed looking at maps, so I may wind up wander in there one day and just kind of browse through your maps.
Oh yeah, like I said, we have a lot of maps. The topographic maps aren't as beautiful unless you're into reading topographic, elevations. But they again, we have a wealth of information, but we have historical maps as well. Both in some in government documents and obviously some that are in our house and our special collections as well.
Thank you, Larry. This has been just so enlightening. Thank you. I truly appreciate this.
My pleasure.
And thanks to everyone for joining us today.